Despite only being tiny, I originally got started doing reviews alongside my streams to keep folks informed about what I thought of the games that I played, to give people a little bit more insight than I was able to when I was playing a game on stream. To be honest, I'd never really intended to branch out beyond reviews and touch base on gaming controversies or anything else like that, as there are several other very capable names in that business now. Yesterday, however, a DLC for MechWarrior 5 Clans was brought to my attention. A DLC I'd honestly not expected, given it's been a mere 6 weeks since the game was released in an abysmal and broken state. Nevertheless, on November 26, Piranha Games released MechWarrior 5 Clans' first DLC to an unsurprisingly negative response from those who bothered to purchase it, presuming anybody actually noticed. Trials of War, as it's been dubbed, is selling for a humbling $30 Australian, the price of what anybody would expect a full-length DLC to sell for, but much as I stated they would in my review for MechWarrior 5 Clans, PGI is not disappointed, because this week, Russ Bullock, the CEO of PGI, has actually shown us how pitifully low he's prepared to go to scrape at the bottom of the barrel to try and weasel money out of people's pockets. This DLC adds absolutely nothing of actual value to a game that to this day still resets your key bindings every time you boot it up. PGI claim that for your hard-earned cash you'll get to challenge your friends in PvP arena mode, which if the comments on Steam are to be believed, that only one person actually asked for, despite MechWarrior Online being a thing for the last 11 years. But that is not the best part of the PvP mode. You get to battle it out across 10 unique arenas, which are so unique that you totally didn't see them when you played through the campaign. Oh, and by the way, they're locked behind the career progression, so that's how unique they are. But if the tantalizing prospect of PvP in a narrative-based game isn't enough to encourage you into this purchase, then perhaps the prospect of Horde mode might entice you, which absolutely isn't a fancied-up rip-off of the Warzone missions from MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, you know, with a couple of repair bays thrown in. You're only thrown into the most annoying piece of map imaginable, and I do say piece because this is also stripped directly out of the single-player campaign, because why make new assets when you can reuse and flip the old ones? Am I right, Russ? But if all that isn't enough to get you to part with your hard-earned cash, then perhaps some new shiny Omnimech setups will bring you in. A total of 12 new powerful variants. Please don't ask why there are only 12 when we have 16 chassis in the game though. That might downplay all the effort PGI put into this mammoth DLC. I mean, after all, we can't have all of the new assets being put into one DLC pack because we need to release another one for $30 in another month's time. That said, these new powerful variants might just so happen to be the fancy hero mechs they sell for a premium over on their MechWarrior Online service. Sarcasm aside though, this has got to be the laziest effort I've seen from a game dev in recent memory. The absolute gall of Russ Bullock to say that selling DLC is controversial is the most disingenuous way of covering his tracks through this whole farcical situation. This is a man who has mixed reviews on every DLC he's released for MechWarrior 5 except for one. And frankly, right now the copium is out and on display for everyone to see, calling his half-assed DLC full of content that should have been included in the base game, and frankly more besides, controversial. Perhaps had he bothered to release a complete game for once instead of selling the unfinished pieces of it later on at a premium, nobody would ever think it was controversial. Not that this video was ever intended to be a review, but I can confidently say to anybody who was wondering, no, don't bother buying this. It is a rip-off and it is not worth your money. Even I myself got it for free. It adds absolutely nothing to the base game that modders can't or won't add later, presuming there are any modders left in the MechWarrior community. At the end of the day, all I have to say on this whole scenario, and probably the next one that comes out, Piranha Games, do better. Russ Bullock is doing you guys no favors.